We're with head baseball coach Larry Sudbrook to talk about the 2012-2013 National Letter of Intent class that he has just recently signed. Coach, let's break it down. We'll start with the pitchers. Dominic Edwards and Drew Teller, what do those two bring to you?
Both guys are pretty similar. They're both guys from Northeast Ohio, one from Mentor, one from Mayfield. Both highly successful high school pitchers, both 6'2", 6'3", long, lanky, loose-armed guys that pitch in the mid to upper 80s. We both think they have the ability long-term to be Atlantic 10 Conference starters when they gain a little experience. They're the type of guys that we look for with that type of body build and that type of arm strength, but projectable to get a little better than that.
Okay. Behind the plate, their potential battery mates in a couple of years, Josh Martin and Alex Bell. What about those two?
Well, we have a senior catcher this year, Michael Greco, and we have a junior catcher in Nick Lauer. So catching is a position we're going to need some help at. And we think Josh Martin is a very athletic kid. He's small for the position, 5'9", 5'10", but he's very athletic, soft hands, throws well, and really swings the bat. We think he's going to add some offense to that position also. The other boy, Alex Bell, is a boy from Pittsburgh. That's very good defensively, handles himself well behind the plate as far as giving directions and being a leader. So we think the catching situation will be in good hands with both of those guys in the future.
And going around the infield, start with your potential corner infielders, Steve Klimek and Sean Slay. Talk about those two.
Well, the Klimek kid is a very interesting kid in the fact that he's actually a dual guy. I mean, we could have mentioned him with the pitchers. He's got a very good arm. He's 6'2", 6'3", long, lanky, very athletic kid, very good basketball player also. He's a mid-upper 80s guy. Good arm action, so he's going to be a guy that we'll look at it both ways. And the other thing he does, he's a left-handed hitting corner guy, and by corner he could be first, third, or left or right. He's got pop. He was here when he was a sophomore in high school at a showcase, and he was hitting a ball out of the ballpark off of live pitching on our field as a sophomore, and got a lot of bat speed. He's a guy that we think is going to have an opportunity to do both things for us, pitch and hit. The other boy, Sean Slay, is out of Du Bois, Pennsylvania, where quite a few years ago we had a long line of very good players, and hopefully Sean's going to get that going for us again. He is a very athletic kid, high school quarterback, 6 foot, about 195, very strong. He's a home run hitter. I think it was after his sophomore year between high school and the summer leagues he played in. He hit like 26, 27 home runs. Very strong kid, and we project him to be a corner guy also, first, third, or left or right, with some pop. So we think that Klimek and Slay are both guys that are going to be potential middle-of-the-order guys with power, and yet they're athletic enough that they're going to be able to play a position also.
And then finally, the last two up the middle, shortstop and second base, Thad Johnson and Tommy Stein. Thad going to be a third-generation baseball player for you now. Your expectations for those two?
Well, since you mentioned Thad there last, Thad definitely is the third generation of Johnsons. The other two, Kale's had a great career for us, had been a #1 pitcher when he was a sophomore, had some injury problems 2 years ago, came back and had a pretty solid year, and he'll be one of our top 3 conference pitchers this year. Asa pitched quite a bit last year out of the bullpen as a freshman, and we look for him to be a guy that's going to be competing for one of the starting 5 starting positions this year and be a conference starter for us in the future. Thad's a little different than those two. Thad's not as tall, doesn't quite have the pitcher's build that those two do, but I'm sure the other two will be offended by this, but he's the most athletic of the group. I mean, this is a guy that is going to be able to play middle infield. He throws well. He's a mid-80s guy, runs pretty well, swings the bat, has really good bat speed. I know the other two think they can hit, but Thad really can hit. So we think he's a guy that is going to be a shortstop or a third baseman. He's a left side infielder with the arm strength and the bat speed that he has. So he's a third generation Johnson that we think will be a good addition to the other two because they've both been solid people for us. Tommy Stein is one of the type of guys that I think is difficult to find in college baseball every now and then, or today. He's a prototypical 1 or 2 hole hitter when he gets a little bit of experience. He's a little guy, 5'6", 5'7", but he runs very well. He's the type of guy that coaches don't like to see come up to the plate because he's going to take a walk, push a bunt. He's going to let the ball hit him if it's a breaking ball inside. He's just a guy that can be a real pain at the top of the order and cause pitchers problems getting on base. He's got nice hands. He projects as a second baseman, but we think he'll be able to be a 1-2 type of hitter that'll be able to help us out in the future.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.